Greetings, friends, and welcome back to Chapter 24 of the Crucible Chronicles. This is, of course, the third installment of this chapter, and once again in this chapter we are going through my fanny pack of faves, if you will, as the thumbnails say at least. We're going set by set and just playing a quick game with my favorite deck from that set, which has proven difficult even selecting the favorite deck. Similarly to AOA, which was the previous episode, I had some not reservations. I had a difficult time picking, but fortunately, my good KeyForge friends over at Twitter helped with the poll. Helped me select the deck that we're going to be playing today. It was only two choices, and we won't go over the other one, but we are going to talk briefly about the deck we're going to play today. And I did want to mention, I'm not sure why I haven't mentioned this before, but this is of course Worlds Collide that we're looking at today, the third release, the third set of KeyForge, but. What is your favorite Worlds Collide deck? I guess it could be presumably something from your collection, but maybe it's something you've otherwise seen or seen other people play. Be sure to throw that in the comments and tell me why you love it. I'd love to get some conversation going in the comments about that. So without further ado, let's hop into the actual deck itself. And it is Emptina Laser Guided Dunes Hunter. So cool story about this deck, or sort of this deck. I opened this deck at some point in Worlds Collide, and I have since opened another Emptina deck in Mass Mutation, which is kind of fun. This is my favorite of the two. If I were to pit them against each other, this one, I don't know, I feel like it could be pretty even. I just have a harder time playing the other one. Anyways, this one for my favorite deck of Worlds Collide is Emptina Laser Guided Dunes Hunter. It is, of course, Dis, Logos, and Untamed. A lot of people I feel like they give Untamed kind of a bad rap in Worlds Collide. But, I think you can get some suites that are pretty cool. And I guess that could be said really for any house, even like Brobnar in Worlds Collide. Like you can potentially get a pretty functional house, even if the card pool more generally is a bit of a challenge to work with. But why do I like this deck? What's the deal with it? And why is it up there as my favorite deck? Well, first of all, it is just wonky. That's it. I think this may be one of my wonkiest decks that gets like frequent play. And I kind of affectionately dub this as like a battle line placement rush deck. Now, if you'll note, it's got 12 Ember pips. If you're looking at the stats on DOK, the expected Ember is only 20, which for a rush deck is really not that much. But it just like the way it plays seems to just be kind of just gas. And we'll go through what that is here really briefly. I guess if we go house by house, Dis is all right. It's got some good damage, kind of creature control stuff with the triple Festering Touch, which, to be honest, outside of killing really small creatures, very often doesn't necessarily kill a whole lot of stuff, but it can kind of pave the way for some other stuff. We do have a Gleeful Mayhem, which is a really great card. Generally, going to be able to get some great value out of this action. Interestingly enough, we have this Onyx Knight, which destroys each creature with odd power. And I got to tell you, like, for whatever reason in this deck, that has been incredibly helpful. For whatever reason, there have frequently been times where I'm like, I really need to like kill more stuff on my opponent's board. And more often than not, I feel like I pull up this Onyx Knight, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually pretty great. Like it kills some of my stuff, whatever, but it does a lot of work in taking out my opponent's stuff, and certainly in correlation with something like the Gleeful Mayhem, and some of the other damage stuff. It's pretty good. So that's Dis, mostly damage. We got like a couple sort of just like middling creatures, a Soul Fiddle. Honestly, mostly the Dis creatures, I could really care less in this deck, and they actually end up being very frequently discarded, care of the Logos. Speaking of Logos, let's talk about Logos. I feel like we got some cool stuff that you like to see, and you got Information Exchange, Tau Vapors, so you got a little bit of speed, some warding with a Hologramophone, Seismo Entangler, actually really strong creature control, can help stall until we manage to, draw into maybe some more of the damage slash creature control that we have in the deck. And now, if you're to the keen observer, if you hadn't noticed, there's very, very little Ember control. We have a single Mustic Murmook, the Information Exchange, a Malison, which, take it or leave it. Basically, in terms of functional Ember control right out of hand, you've got the Mustic Murmook, Information Exchange, and the Universal Keylock. This is a great example of probably, this is like the reason, one of the reasons that I actually quite like playing decks that are like extremely deficient in one area. And interestingly enough, if I think about it, Koravalif, we played in the Coda episode, chapter 1, had very, very little board control. So very deficient in that area, but it was like had a relatively proactive game plan. Otherwise, if I recall, that game actually ended up being like a little more close because I think our opponent didn't really have a whole lot of board control either. So we were able to do some stuff there. I could be remembering that wrong. That was like a week ago, but where was I going with that? Yeah, anyways, so Emptina is one of a couple of decks that have very low Ember control that I quite enjoy. Another being Guy, which we talked about in the last episode, that only having the Lash of Broken Dreams. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Not a whole lot of Ember control, but this deck, as kind of a rush deck, will kind of compensate for the fact that it can't necessarily hold our opponent off check very long. Now we start getting to some of the fun stuff. We have double Code Monkey. So if you haven't seen Code Monkey, is a cool, really, really like zany creature. Has deploy and the play ability archive each neighboring creature. If those creatures share a house, gain two Ember. So this is where kind of some of the weird, expected Ember fits in. I think, let's see, they do have Code Monkey. So I think that counts as a point towards expected Ember. But in this deck, it tends to do, I would feel like, a bit more than a single Ember in a cycle. And in large part, that's because there's two Code Monkeys. So Code Monkey is great, allows you to potentially archive and recur some creatures that you've previously either already played and got some value out of, or you'd like to maybe protect or put into your archives for use later, something like that. There's all sorts of crazy plays that this deck has, and I won't belabor them in the kind of deck discussion right now, but maybe over the course of the game we can get into it. But these Code Monkeys pair really nicely with like the Dr. Millie, allowing some archiving. So you like play the Dr. Millie to archive some stuff, and then you Code Monkey to archive the Dr. Millie again. You can do some cool stuff there. We've got a Quant, which allows us to play off-house actions. And the double Sanitation Engineers, which allow us to discard, which actually force us to discard cards from our hand if we reap, which is actually, like I said, pretty okay, because there's like maybe a third of this house of stuff I don't necessarily care about. And there's like enough kind of cruft in the Untamed that I can usually find something I'm okay discarding. So that's the Logos, the double Code Monkey being probably one of the premier elements of the Logos in terms of how this deck moves towards its game plan. Then we have the Untamed, a couple Cauldron Boils, which are surprisingly useful when you have three Festering Touches. You can usually leave some damage out on the board to kind of double when you get these Festering Touches. I've got a Key Charge, which is a great out, and there's kind of a really nice coup de grace in this deck, which is we have the Ghost Hawk with Song of the Wild and Nature's Call. So if we have a wide enough board, we can reap for an obscene amount care of the Ghost Hawk and Song of the Wild, pick it up with Nature's Call, play it again in a different location, and reap even more, and then Key Charge to kind of actually, solidify that is going to turn into a key, as opposed to a situation where you just end your turn with a lot of Ember. So that's pretty nice. That's honestly the majority about it. We got some other stuff here. Mustic Murmook, which we talked about. Mab the Mad. And this deck also has two Kangaphants, which is kind of, I would say, generally a card that I feel gets discarded in a lot of other decks that I've played. I'm not sure if you have any great experiences with Kangaphant, but I feel like this deck is actually pretty happy to have Kangafants put out on the board. It's great deterrent. It's a great distraction for our opponent, depending on if they're trying to reap a bunch. And if it doesn't end up being a distraction, there's these code monkeys that allow us to effectively pick up the Kangafant or Kangafants into our archives and then reap out with like a Logos line as well. So we have some kind of utility that goes on in there, which I absolutely love. I said it was kind of like a battle line placement rush deck, and the battle line placement in this deck is like very, very critical. You have to like be thinking, 3-4, turns down the road, trying to figure out how you want to place these creatures in such a way that you can recycle them with the code monkeys. Or potentially like be able to reap with 2 useful creatures with a Ghost Hawk or something like that. I think that's it. That's Emptina Laser Guide to Dune's Hunter. Hopefully it'll have a good showing. It's a great deck. I love playing it. It's super fun to play. And like that to me is like the peak KeyForge experience for me. So let's hop into today's game, and I'll see you on the pitch. Hi, and welcome to the pitch. Such a doofus. What even does that mean? We're playing another Worlds Collide deck. Cool. The Mentor of East Bay. That's pretty fun. Logos Shadows Star Alliance. So certainly a potent combo with that Logos and Star Alliance. We got the Chain Gang. We've got the Bren the Fanatic. They got Oubliette. That's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt me a lot. Maybe they won't figure out my deal with the code monkey. So I think what we do here is we lead. I think we lead with like a Soul Fiddle. We can lead with the Soul Fiddle, we can throw down the Untamed, and then we can actually code monkey, potentially the Ghost Hawk and the Mad, save those for later. So I like that. I think we just play the Soul Fiddle so we have some damage options later. Oh man, Festering Touch. That is the exact card that I would wish to discard there. All right, we'll go ahead and play out some Untamed. Let's put that right there. Got ourselves another Kangafant. Another Kangafant ready to be activated. Throwing down the old Tao, the Hologramophone. They did archive something off of Hidden Stash earlier. Oh, and nice Universal Keylock. Interesting. I could actually wouldn't like be super sad to kill 3 of these things with this Gleeful Mayhem. Again, it wasn't exactly what I was intending on doing. But I think I kind of like it. We'll take a disc turn. The question is, do I want to do an Inspector to make them lose a card? Let's do it. I normally wouldn't do that, but kill. Ooh, good. We got a Quintrino Flux. So that's pretty nice. Purge to Quintrino Flux. What other kind of removal do they have? I think Kirby is what? Kirby's 3, so actually we might get some good use out of our Onyx Knight. First Officer Frayne. I love those Chans, yeah. Does this have any blasters? Wow, double Ingram. Okay, it's brutal. I think we could just throw down this 1, 2, 3. We could go back to Untamed here. I think I actually kind of like it. Can reap. We can reap. Can cauldron boil. Can nature's call. What do you think? Pop Ward. Commander Chan. First Officer Frayne. Or should I also... No, because I guess this Ingram could just be played. It's really not a great play. That's okay. Hey, we found our Song of the Wild. This is a great situation here with this Kangafint. Really going to help to kind of lock down some of this board. They have to dedicate some resources to taking out the Kangafint. Sadly, we did already kill a Kangafint, but we could also potentially exhume it if we wanted some more kind of that disruption. Yeah, going back to Starlines, not a surprise. Plays Kirker. Commander Chan. Kirby. Interesting. So I guess we're only playing against Starlines. That's fine. Technivore Pulpate. Fights the Ghost Hawk. Interesting. To get the ward out, I guess. Wow. Okay. So that is a lot of Starlines. That's a lot of SA. Jeez. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We purged the Quintrino Flux, so not even halfway through the deck, and we've seen what was it? 8 or 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've seen almost the entire set. All right. Well, this is tough. We can call it Dis. We call Logos, then we'll kill all these artifacts, which maybe is better, but I get the Tau Tau, so I could move twice as quick. You know, let's call Dis. We'll just throw down a couple creatures here. All right, that's nice. That's handy. That's handy. Well, at least make them pay for it with the Universal Keylock. Oh man, I think we're just, this is definitely not a situation we can come back from. I don't mean to be a downer on this particular scenario, but I mean, there's literally 8 Starlands creatures on the board, and we got a Chan. We got the I guess did one of the Ingrams get killed? I missed that. Maybe they reaped or something. I don't know. The good news is we'll have this. We can Tau Tau, and then we get a pretty decent Dr. Millie. Gosh, they got another one. They got a second Kirby. Oh, geez. Oh man, that is a bummer. That is a real bummer, isn't it? Honestly, I think we might have to play Untamed just because I don't want to call Logos. I don't want to call Logos and have the Pulpate do its thing. I think I probably need to kill one of these Kirbys. Probably should have killed a Chan in hindsight because of the Onyx Knight. We did get a little bit of taxing there, so that's all right. Oh, and we did we draw this Onyx Knight before? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Another Chan. That's incredible. Oh, geesh. I love it. I love it. Like, you just love to see it, really. All right, so we can kill Kirby, Kirker. Can't kill Chan, but we could Reap. I honestly feel like we need to do this, otherwise we basically just lose to this board. So we'll call this. Do we Reap? Do we fight the Chan? Oh, if I Reap, I'll have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll be on to check. I won't because of the Chan. Actually, I definitely won't because of the double Chan situation. We just Reap and then we play the Onyx Knight. Man, what an absolutely unfortunate situation. Now, Dr. Millie, for each creature, you have to archive a card. So that is actually going to make this maybe a little bit challenging. We'll see what our opponent throws down. I think either way, we're in a very bad position. An incredibly bad position. Because really the only thing we have left, we can get like an information exchange. Which would be okay. We'll call Logos. We'll Tau. Archive that Deep Wood. We're not going to get on to check here. We will get this Onyx Knight stuffed in the archives, which would do 1, 2. So, again, only 3 creatures. Basically, the 3 creatures that were just played. So, how do we want this to work? Do we want... Code Monkey. Could also like generate a bunch more Ember. Like Sanitation Engineer. Then Dr. No, I can't do Dr. Millie. Dr. Millie has to be later. It's actually really not a good situation to have Dr. Millie. I think what we do is we go down that, go down that, and then throw down Daughter, Quant, and then Dr. Millie to the left. Yeah, not a great position for the old Dr. Millie there. We have the Universal Keylock, but again, doesn't do a whole lot for us. We got the Onyx Knight, which kills just as many of our things as it kills theirs. Festering Touch, we could at least pop some wards. Especially if this Quant lives, which I have no intention of assuming it's going to live. Yeah, as foreseen. See, I think the most difficult part about a deck that comes out in that order, with just like so much of one house up front, is like there's no Starlines left, right? There's no Starlines left, so it's like they're only going to be drawing into their other 2 houses at this point. So, yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. And we don't have the Quant, so we're literally stuck with Universal Keylock. Which is less than ideal. But we'll just make it happen. Pick up the archives. Seismo Entangler would have been so huge earlier. So huge. Go ahead and reap. Reap. Code Monkey to the left. Versatile Key Lock. Sanitation Engineer. Sanitation Engineer. And we'll call that good. Maybe we'll get one key here. Oh, we have this daughter who can't fight anything, so we'll just end our turn. Ah, yes. The shadows. Oh, man. Shadows, Ronnie. They got the Chain Gang. No reaping from the Inky Gloom. Got Avinda. They pick up the archives? They did pick up the archives. That makes sense. We at least, I think... Oh, no. Rude. And we, doesn't look like we got our information exchange. So, double bummer. Double bummer. Right, well, let's see. I think we're out of options here. I think. Let's just double check. Got the Onyx Knight. Nothing funny's happening. Archives, we got Dr. Millie, Code Monkey. Dr. Millie would be really nice right now. Just absolutely empty all this stuff out. But we certainly needed the information exchange to show up as well. So what is the coolest way we can go out? Probably just logos, right? We'll pick up our archives. Go ahead and hologramophone the old sanitation engineer. I see. That is certainly a bummer. Got me all locked in there. That's okay. I guess we just Seismo Entangle anything. Starlance? Is it even Starlance? Probably Shadows. Got me right where you want me. There's Shadows. That's what that card looks like. We'll do that. I suppose no, because you can't really play the Dr. Millie. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have all those. Give him the GG. Well played. Played great. Oh man, what a decisive loss for Emptina. As I said, I feel like, we played this matchup. I didn't say this technically earlier, but I feel like if our opponent didn't have quite the start that they did, I feel like we had a pretty decent start. We had an actual decent game plan right off the bat, but it's just, effectively getting through your entire Starlance and having a double Chan, double Kirby Starlance that allows you to rip through the rest of your deck, activate other cards, activate other creatures, and play other cards. That's just like a tough tempo to come back. And we have like a decent amount of removal in this deck, but the Onyx Knight I think came a little bit late. Certainly the Seismo Entangler was absolutely ruinous, not getting that till later. So if we had maybe established that on the board earlier, that would have really locked down the Starlance board. They still could have like fought us off the board, but I think it would have bought us at least one turn. As it was, they basically were able to just kind of go ham with Starlance for 3 turns in a row, 3 or 4 turns in a row. So of course, well played by them, well executed, undoubtedly. But certainly not the game I was hoping for. But hey, that's KeyForge. But yeah, so that is it. That is Emptina Laser Guided Dunes Hunter. It's a super fun deck. Really think there's like some interesting decision points in the deck that at least for my collection, I don't have anything else in my collection that kind of fits the bill. It doesn't have like there are interesting decisions certainly, but like even the playing of creatures and placing them has consequence down the line. So that's why I love it, and I'll always come back to it. Like doesn't even matter if we've got these like one-sided matchups or kind of games that just aren't really, that we're not in the game. It's a perfect type of deck even for that, because it feels like it's playing its own little game anyways. And, you know, there's a lot of synergies with those Code Monkeys. And even the Ghost Hawk, you know, of course, we got a absolutely worthless Ghost Hawk, unfortunately. But that is can do a lot of damage if we can get the right board situation, which unfortunately we were not able to do this game. But hey, that's it. That's KeyForge. It's a crazy zany game, and I do love it. So I will be back. Let's see, next week, and we're gonna be picking up with Mass Mutation. Oh man, Mass Mutation. It's gonna be fun. Anyways, don't forget, throw in the comments below your favorite Worlds Collide deck. Love to hear what you enjoy playing and why you like playing it. I will see you all next week.